welcome back to our podcast. For those of you guys who weren't with us last week, I am Raylene M.
And I'm Raylene G.
And this is Ray to Ray.
Yay!
Woo-hoo. We need to get intro music. That's one thing. We are working on intro music. Stay tuned because it needs to be something good.
Well, I talked to a person.
No guitar band samples. You know what I mean?
Garage band, not guitar band.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, it shows how much I know. Whatever. Okay.
Yeah, I talked to someone because I told Jonathan, I need happy music. He's like, what's that mean? I was like, I don't want boom, boom, boom. He's like, I don't know how to do that. But I talked to someone, so it's coming. It's coming.
Have we mentioned that Jonathan's a DJ?
I don't know. I'm sure we have.
Well, okay. Well, hot take. Her boyfriend's a DJ, and
slash producer.
We should have had music. Oh, slash producer. So we should have had music a long time ago, but
we don't want EDM for intro, and that's what he does.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
But I talked to someone else, so it should be coming soon. So.
Oh, cool. Exciting. Okay, yes. Well, yeah, welcome, guys. Do you have any topics you want to talk about for the week? Let's catch up. What have you been up to? What's new?
Trying to get into a workout routine, eating better. Meanwhile, Jonathan's over there probably ordering me Postmates for lunch. But yeah, quarantine sucks. I miss the gym. I need the gym back.
You know what's so funny is that because I work at a gym, I see all these tweets of like, open up the gym, we want the gym back. And I'm like, please keep it closed.
No, please keep them closed because I do not need this thing to get worse, but I miss the gym.
Okay. No, I agree. I mean, I don't want any of this virus to get any worse, but also I love the unemployment. Like, I don't want to go back if I don't have to, you know what I mean?
True.
So yeah, but I've definitely been trying to work out. Me and Ashley, we did a little 2-week challenge, or we're doing a little 2-week challenge. So I go to her house every morning and I do our workouts. And that barely started this week. So we've been doing it for 3 days now. This is our 3rd day, and we're keeping it consecutive because, you know, when you work out and you're like, oh, the first couple of days you're so committed and you're so dedicated and you're like, yeah, it feels good. And then after the first couple of days, you're like, you know what, I'm kind of sore.
Your first day that you're sore. Yep, exactly.
And that's your first excuse. You know what? I'm a little sore today.
I'm going to take a day off and start tomorrow again. And then tomorrow never comes.
And tomorrow never comes. So, no, but you know, we're keeping each other. It's good because we're keeping each other accountable. I have to, like, go to her house, which is kind of it. Another thing about it, too, is, like, working out with other people.
Yeah.
It helps. Like, it really helps working out with each other and keeping each other, like, you know, encouraged.
Motivated.
And Ashley's such, like, an encouraged person. But we've been dying off of these workouts. We're working out with her mom. So it's us 3 in her living room. And they kick our butts. Like, all of us are dying. And you know, I sweat like a man. Like, for those of you who don't know, I sweat like a man.
Send red deodorant recommendations. Because she doesn't stink. She just needs some antiperspirant.
Yeah, I don't stink, thank God. But I literally, sweat like a man. It's the worst. So yeah, it's kicking our butts, but I like it. I need it. I need to do something.
Speaking of kicking butts, first of all, proud of you. Good job. Keep it up. Second of all, kicking butts. Like, okay, in high school, like I'm only 5 years out of high school. I would go from I'm out at 5 years out of high school, right? Which isn't a long time if you think about it. But
it felt like to your 10 years.
True, thanks. But like, it's not like I've been like, I got out of high school and I was like, oh, I'm never going to work out again. Because in high school, like, you know, I would go from cheer practice straight to softball practice or softball practice straight to cheer practice. There was a time in there where I played volleyball. So it was like practice. And I felt fine. Like I was good. I was in shape. Like obviously I'd be tired at the end of the night. 2-a-days where I would wake up at freaking 5 o'clock in the morning, go to cheer practice till 8, go to softball practice at 1 to 5, and then go back. We would have
summer school before that. We would have summer school too.
Yeah. Then go to softball from 1 to 5 or whatever for conditioning, and then jump back into cheer practice from 6 to 9. And it was I was totally fine. And then I wouldn't even eat during that freaking time.
That's what I like, and that's why I've told you before, I wish, because right now I'm looking at my body, right, and I have like my little pancita, and I'm like, dang, when am I ever gonna have a flat stomach? And I think about how much.
Let's just say, like,
what?
yeah, you're like, okay, but you still love yourself. It's important. Self-love. Okay, go on.
Oh yeah, self-love. Definitely love myself. But I think about, like, okay, in high school, I was always active. I was always walking around. I was doing 2-a-days. Like, I was it. I wish I could just go back and appreciate, because I know I didn't have a flat stomach, but I know it was definitely smaller than
I had
this.
little
and so
baby abs, so like, come back.
I did not. No, I did not have abs, but I just wish that I could appreciate my body back then, and really just be like, you know what? Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, bask in this, because it gets harder as you get older. Everybody says it, but
yeah, but like my thing was like, so I did all that, right? And then I continued to go to the gym. Like, I haven't like stopped going to the gym since high school, but it didn't until like this quarantine thing. I mean, no, I wouldn't go consistently. I wouldn't have it like forced down my throat 3 times a week, but I still went and I tried to eat somewhat healthier. What happened?
But even just like living life, and that's why like this quarantine has really sucked, because like you even just walking to class or walking to work
or going and sweating the night out at a freaking club, like
exactly, dancing your butt off at a club, sweating, like getting that little workout in, that cardio.
I don't know if you guys have ever gone to like a club in heels. One night there, if you go from like, they open at what, like 8 to 2, it's your whole workout for the week. You're good.
Oh yeah, you are fine. Your calves are going to be A1. Let me tell you. No, but yeah, so quarantine really put a pause on all of that. But we're getting back into it slowly but surely. So thank you for that.
6 months later.
Yeah, I mean, stay tuned. We're probably gonna I don't know. You know, speak it into existence though. But like, no, we are going to continue.
No, yeah, my hardest part about it is like, I don't dread working out. I actually love working out. Like, I love the feeling of being sore, but like, I have nothing to like before I'd be like, okay, like we gotta hit the gym hard this week because EDC's in a month, or like, oh, like I have this birthday party at a beach I gotta go to, or like, you know, like little things that like keep you motivated, they don't exist anymore, because I'm like, oh dang, I gotta get in shape to put on my Chipotle shirt, like, you know. So
and that was one thing too, where I'm like, you know, no one can see me. I don't care if I get fat, like no one can see me, but I do care if I get fat, because you can see it in my face. So
it's not even just that, it's not healthy for you internally. So
yeah, but you know what, I do hate working out. That's one thing. Like, Ray loves working out, wants to be a PT, like very into all of that.
Yeah,
and I'm not. I wish I was, but I'm just not, and that's okay.
I know this sounds really stupid because I'm nowhere close to it, but I'm so scared of getting too skinny. Like, I don't want to be a twig. Like, I want muscle on my body. Like, I want to be thick. And I'm so scared to get too skinny, but I'm also scared to get too buff. Even though I know, I know the science behind it and I know how to avoid both. But those are my, like, biggest fears in working out.
I think I am definitely not scared to be too skinny, because I know that will never happen for me. But I think being like, because you know what? When I work out, I feel like I get bulky in all the wrong places.
Right.
Like, don't get me wrong, my butt gets bigger, and I am so appreciative of that. But like, I don't know, like I don't get abs right away. It takes so much time.
Well,
but
abs are gonna be the hardest thing to get, because you use so you have to like. Okay, sorry, teaching moment. People don't realize it's like when you're working out, the muscles that you use more often in your daily life are going to be harder to build. So your legs, your butt, your core, like those are all big muscle groups that you use. Like your core keeps you standing every day. You use your legs to walk around. So those like muscle groups are going to be 10 times harder to build than like doing a bicep curl. Because I'm like, yeah, you use your arms, but how often are you doing this motion, you know?
True.
But I mean, I definitely do think my upper body builds a lot faster than my lower body too. Like, I can do like 4 days of legs and 1 day of arms, and I'll have definition in my arms the next day and have no change in my butt. So
yeah, your butt takes a little longer to get there.
It does.
I mean, but yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, we're both been trying to work out. Good for us. Have you been eating healthy?
Not at all. I'm not gonna lie.
Me either. Woo woo woo
I mean,
woo.
the so and it's like stupid stuff. Like I don't know why we have this like idea that we have to eat after work. Like I'm not even hungry half the time, but I'm like, oh, I need to eat. I haven't ate since my break at 5 o'clock.
And that's
And I'm
right.
like,
That's
I'm not
like,
even that hungry. Like, why am I eating?
then
And then
you
as
shouldn't
hold
eat.
on. And then as I'm eating, I get like halfway through and I'm like, oh, no wonder I feel sick all the time. Like,
Right.
dude,
Because what time
I
do
like
you?
the
Because
taste of
like,
food so much. That's what it is.
yeah, I
And
know.
I
I
get
feel
off at
that.
11, but like if you take into perspective the fact that I go to sleep at 2 and I wake up at like 11, so it's still kind of like me stop eating at 8 o'clock, how they say you're supposed to. Because I thought about that too.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
And it's just my time frame's different because of when I wake up and like when I work
Go
and
to
yeah,
work.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
No, I
All
sat
right.
there and I did the math for that because I was like, do I really have to stop eating at 8? Like I eat snacks at work until like 9.
Oh my gosh, Ray. All
And I
right. Well,
haven't
let's jump
gained
into
any
that.
weight. Just saying.
Oh wait. What? You haven't gained any weight?
I just haven't lost any weight.
I have gained. I don't even want to say. I don't even want to say. I'm embarrassed, but I have gained
But
so much weight. It's sad. I'm surprised like people don't. I mean, people probably think it in their heads because nobody tells you anything. But I feel like I've really gained
see,
some
like
lbs.
my thing is like I haven't gained weight, but I definitely think I've lost it in muscle and gained it in fat. It's just the numbers the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, my number has definitely gone up, but let's not talk about that.
Okay, let's jump into
Okay.
today's
Yes,
topic. I was
can
gonna say story.
we?
I guess it is a story. Today's topic is all about
To
failed friendships and what to do.
friendship breakups,
There
right?
you
Okay,
go.
so the reason why this got brought up is because we got a DM, and they basically was like, hey, it was a tweet, and they were like, hey, this reminds me of like what you guys are doing. Like maybe this could be an episode. And so I thought, okay, and I read the tweet, and so let me read it to you, Ray. So it says, friend breakups, and then he puts parentheses. I mean, good, long-term, very close and intimate friendships, close parentheses, are, in my experience, much more emotionally devastating than romantic breakups. And yet, unlike romantic relationships, we have almost no socialization, even in media images, on how to navigate them.
And we're gonna be
And
that
so,
media that teaches you how to navigate them.
I mean, we're just going to give you our experience, and whatever you take from that, hopefully it's something.
At least it's something though, because there's nothing out there. Like if you Google right now how to navigate a friendship breakup, they're gonna be like, oh, forget the friends. Move on. You don't need negativity in your life, you know?
Well, okay, so when we got this message, Ray was like, well, like all the eyes were on me because I don't know if Ray has had like a big breakup, but she knows of my like big friend breakup that really took a toll on my little life here. And so I don't know, but did you have any friendship breakups though?
Not to the extent like of yours where it was like an emotional thing. Mine was like this person actually did something where we're like, no, like we can't be your
Okay.
friend anymore. Yeah.
Okay, fair. That's fair. Yeah, these are so much more different. Well, okay,
Yeah.
so let me start off with my experience. So I went through a friendship breakup the summer after high school. And it was really devastating for me because at that time I was also going through a lot of like family situations. I'm looking at Ray and she's like, I already know all of this. So sorry, Ray. Ray knows everything. No, so I was going through a lot of, family issues. Really big, like my life turned upside down type of deal. It was really, I'm probably gonna have to go to therapy. I mean, I will go to therapy for it because it's gonna take a while to get over. But at that same time is when I lost like my best friend, and so it really, really just totally broke me. I was so devastated at this time of my life. But what happened was something happened with my family, and a couple weeks, and at the time when this all happened with everything with my family, she was there for me. You know, she was doing her like best friend duties and trying to figure out what was going on and being there and, you know, telling me like, let's, you know, stay with me, like don't be at your house, like doing all the best friend things, doing all the right things. And then a couple weeks later, we got into this really big argument. And for me, like, now looking back, I feel like after she's explained her side and stuff, I get where she was coming from. But at the time, I was so, like, defensive because for one, I felt like this came out of nowhere. And I felt like, you know, it was my time to be a little selfish because I was going through something I felt was very valid and needed a lot of, you know, I needed her at that time. Like I really was like, you know, I know what her feelings were and they were valid and true, but for me, like I'm just really going through our time. I just needed her to be a friend, you know? But you know, it didn't happen that way. We got into a really big fight. And her points were valid in that she felt that I wasn't giving the friendship or her the attention that she needed from me.
But at the time, you didn't know that they were valid because you were just so hurt in your own stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the big argument happened, you know, and we said some things through text. We didn't even talk on the phone, which is something that I think
I didn't know that. I didn't know it was all through text.
It was all through text. We didn't even talk on the phone, which sucks because don't do that. Don't forfeit a friendship over text. Just FYI, PTA out there. Like really, if this person means a lot to you, like take the time to do a phone call and let them know how you're feeling, because texts like get interpreted differently and you don't know the tone and all that nonsense. Like any argument you have, save it for in person. That's my rule. But no, it went on through text, and you know, we didn't speak after that. After those texts were sent, it was kind of like a done deal, and we didn't talk for a whole like 2 years, maybe a year and a half after that, until we rekindled again and like because we needed some closure. I don't know how like it affected her, but I know it affected me badly, and so I definitely needed closure from her. And we got that, and I don't know. I mean, we aren't best friends anymore, so I guess we kind of got closure in the sense of agreeing to disagree with each other. But yeah, I feel like now looking back, I've definitely learned a lot from it. One being self-aware, because this took a lot of self-reflection, right? Like I could sit here and really just sulk in all of the ways that she, you know, I felt like she did me wrong, and I can, you know, sit and think of all of the things I could have told her about the friendship that was her fault or whatever I felt. I could have done that, but what was, and I did do that. Like I did spend so much time just like losing sleep over our argument and thinking, oh, I should have said this and I should have said that, and how about this time, and thinking it was unfair. And you know, I did that. And now looking back, I mean, it was necessary. Like I needed that time to vent and
get it all out on the table.
Get it all out. And my boyfriend at the time, he literally saw me go through it. I feel like he probably thought I was crazy. And I would tell him too, like, if we ever break up, I'm never acting like this. Like, this is because this is my best friend. Like, I promise you I'm not crazy. It's just like that was my longest relationship with someone, right? Like we had been, I didn't even go for her history really, but we had been friends since we were little. We cheered together when we were little, grew up together on the cheer team, and we became really close. Like we just vibed off of each other. We loved dancing together. We had so many great moments, and you know, she was my best friend. She was my childhood best friend. And so all of those memories, they would just come back and hurt a little bit, and you feel like a part of your life is gone, and that's hard. And I want to just validate that, because I feel like people don't give friendship breakups the respect that they deserve, because it's so much harder for me, it's so much harder than breaking up with the guy that you've been with for like a couple months, even a year. Like, no, we're talking about decades of friendship, you know, and spending your time with this person. And so it's so much more important to me. And I think it is weird that like we don't know how to handle it. Like, why is that?
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of it too is like relationships are one thing, but when you have a friendship and then, you know, you're each other's like ride or die, and then that breaks up for whatever reason, whether it's like valid or not valid, or someone did something to so and so, but then you see that person with their new best friend and you're like, oh, well, now she knows all the secrets from now, and every time they have an issue,
Well,
they're
that was
going to
another,
her, like, you know.
and that was another thing. Like well, Edgar would see me,
I don't
just
think
like
that's a name that we gotta worry about.
he would just see me like, because it's true. You think like, oh, like my life. I was so petty and so angry, you know, and you think like, oh, their life is better without me, and like, look at what they're doing without me, and you just get so in your head about it, and it sucks, you know, like it sucks thinking that. And so, okay, well, one thing I learned was self-awareness, which I went over, but another thing that I learned too was that not everybody was meant to be in your life. Like, there, people are coming in and out of your life constantly, you know, and timing is everything. You know, that person was meant to be in my life at that specific time and was meant to leave at that specific time.
Right.
Who knows if they're gonna come into my life later on down the road? Who knows? But that's okay. Like, everything has a time, you know?
And speaking of like coming into your life later down the road, like say, I don't know, you guys both become moms or whatever, so you guys have something in common again, and she reaches out and says like, hey, like, you know, I'm sorry about everything that's happened in the past, but like, you know, I think this friendship's worth it. How do you think you're gonna handle that?
Um, that's a good question. I think I would be open to it, just because we've had so many, like, we've had such a strong friendship for so long. And I would be down. I mean, I don't know if it would be the same, you know,
Right.
like, because we're both such different people now, you know, like we went totally different ways, I feel like, you know,
4 years is a long time for people to
4 years
grow and
is,
change and do everything, you know? I'm
and
not the
these were
same
really
person I was
important.
4 years ago, you know?
Yeah, and these were really important 4 years that I really grew up. Like, I've learned, I think this friendship breakup though has really taught me so much on how to evolve, like, as a person
Oh,
though, you know,
definitely.
because because I realized my faults in the friendship, because after I was done being like so mad and petty and ugly about it, I was like, you know what, no, like, this is my fault too, you know.
Right.
It takes two to tango, and I know I did some things. Let me work on that, because I want to be a better friend in the future. You know, maybe I wasn't the best friend that I strive to be, so let me change that. And I'm glad for that, because I feel like with my friendship with you, like, I our communication is so much better than how I was with any of my other friends. You know what I mean? Like, it just, you learn things, you learn how to communicate. That was one thing that I wish we could have changed about our our friendship in general, because there was just things that, leading up to this fight, I think there was like little moments in our friendship where we weren't comfortable with some things, or it bothered us a little bit on both ends, and we never talked about it, because we were, for me, I know I was kind of like scared to lose her or make it a bigger fight than it should have been, and I didn't have the language for, like, hey, like, this is bothering me, can we talk about it? At that age, you don't have that kind of
Yeah.
like language
Nor
to talk about your feelings and to
nor are
talk
you
about,
told how important it is to do that.
yeah,
Yeah.
nobody tells you that, you know, like. And so we didn't have that, and I think that kind of led up to this bigger argument. I think it was a little bit deeper than what was said on the surface. But that's why I've learned, like, communicating with any relationship is so important, even though it's so hard, and I'm still learning till this day.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if I should communicate that, if I'm tripping, am I over exaggerating? You know what I mean? Like,
How do I say it in a tone that doesn't sound confrontational? How do I, yeah.
yes. Yes. And I think the biggest thing though with that is, like, just emphasizing how important the person is to you.
Right.
And yeah, I might feel these types of ways, but you are important to me, and I want to keep this friendship.
And
Like,
that's
even
why
just
I'm
saying
bringing
that
it up.
sentence.
Yeah.
And yes, and even just saying that sentence should really let the other person's guard down, and saying, like, okay, like, let me step back and let me see if I'm doing something wrong. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I think that's important. And another thing I learned too is that I was kind of saying this earlier that not everybody's going to want to be your friend. You know,
And
like
sometimes you try and it just doesn't work out, and it
and
is
that's
what it
okay.
is.
It
You know
is
how
what
many
it
friends
is.
I've had like that?
Yeah, like sometimes, and you guys like friends grow apart, and that's
Yeah.
okay. Like some people just aren't your cup of tea anymore, and it's okay to like leave that friendship and be like, you know what, no harm, no foul. I don't feel no type of way towards you, but we're just we're cool whenever we hit each other up. Like I'm always down for to grab a bite of lunch or something like that. Always
Yeah.
down, but you drift, and that's fine. Like no hate. Like
People
I
go
don't
into
like.
different life stages, and it is
Yes.
what it is. And sometimes people follow you with it. Sometimes you're gonna drift apart and come back to each other when you're in the same life stage, and sometimes you just don't ever talk to that person again. But again,
But
there's no hatred or
not
anything.
having that hatred is real. I
Yeah.
feel like, and it's like what? Not even hatred, but just like that little
That's
like
stank in the back
you
of
know
your,
what I mean?
yeah,
Like oh
that
they
bad
have
taste
time
in
to
your
like
mouth. Yeah.
yeah, like they have time to hang out with so and so, but not with me, or whatever the case may be. Like I promise you, not everybody is out to get you. That's another lesson. Let's put that out there. Not everyone is out to get you. Like
Yeah.
things just happen. Things pop up. I mean, I don't know. I think that's a whole other episode we could talk about.
Yeah,
Like
and
really just.
yeah, but going off like, oh, they have time to hang out so and not me. People have friends outside of you. Like, and you have to be okay with that. You don't need to be with your friend, best friend, whatever type of friend 24/7. They're going to have friends that aren't you. They're going to have friends of people that you don't like necessarily, or that you don't click with.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about
Yeah.
having friends that don't click with each other. Like you were saying, you have friends from all types of like there's
Yeah.
friends for all types of things, friends that you go out with, friends that you go to have brunches with, friends that know your family and are close with
Yeah.
your family. You have friends, there's different friends for
Different
different times in
things.
life. When we get older and we have kids, we're gonna have mom
Mom
friends.
friends.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
need to link up with some moms so that way I know we all tell each other what we're doing wrong, what we're doing right, stuff like that.
Exactly.
Like it's stages in life.
You're gonna have your friends that are not even like necessarily friends, but people you have to interact with because they're kids in your kids' class, or like teacher friends and this friends and career work office friends.
Mm-hmm.
But how are you gonna expect, like, say Ray becomes a mom before me? Is she gonna expect me to go and hang out with her mom friends when I don't have a kid? Like that's weird. Like, and you have to
Yeah.
realize that, like, I'm not gonna click with her mom friends because I don't have anything to relate to them with. I don't have a baby, like, and or I have friends that are 18. They can't go out with me and Ray to the club. So,
Oh, those are the worst.
like,
But
so
yes,
you have
I
to
get
keep
you.
stuff like that in mind. I have friends that have babies. I have friends that are freaking professional athletes now. How am I supposed to, like, expect them to, like, relate to me and Ray trying to be influencers, or, like, there's just so many different
Podcasting.
things, podcasters,
Yeah.
but, and you have to,
I
if you fit in those situations with them, that's cool. That's awesome for you guys. But you can't expect all your friends from your different elements to come together to do
and
that
that's
too.
something that was hard for me to learn because I'm such that type of person of like I want everybody to be together and have fun, and I want like everybody to be together. And it's true, like not all of your friends really click together. That's something that's like still a little hard for me to learn. I'm still learning
And
that.
I think it's
But
also important too, though, like, yeah, understand, like, yeah, these people aren't going to have to click together, but are they going to be able to, like, deal with each other at, like, weddings or baptisms, or, stuff like that. Like, you also don't want people that are like, oh, so you hang out with Jenny over there. I hate Jenny, so I'm going to go and tell her something at your wedding, like,
that's why I feel like everybody should have a goal of having a good solid foundation of friends in general. I'm not talking about a specific tight knit group. I'm talking about even acquaintances, like having
right.
good solid people around you regardless, so that way you don't have to worry. Like I know I pick cool people to hang out with. I don't have a problem with them knowing my other cool people that I know. Like everybody should just be cool.
Right.
And that's why I'm like, even now picking friends is different for me. Like I really just want people that are, I don't know, like just cool, you know, like not petty. Like one thing is really unproblematic. One thing that's really important for me too, which I've learned, is that I need friends who really call me out of my stuff. Like please do that with me, because that's what you're for, and that's what I'm for. Like we need to, if I'm doing something that's hurting your feelings, or that's making you feel some type of way, like tell me, you know what I mean? So that way we can fix this, because I'd rather do that than forfeit the friendship. Like it's not worth it, you know? And vice versa.
Definitely. And like I mentioned in the last podcast, like just be truthful, like straight up. Like there's nothing worse than like having a friend that's like, oh yeah, no, you're cool, like yeah, don't worry about it. And then them going to another mutual friend of you guys and being like, oh, Raylene did this and I just blah blah blah, and venting to them. Like, no, just vent to me. Let's solve the problem right here and there. Like,
Yes. I mean, easier said than done.
Well, definitely.
Know, like it's because
one of those things you got to put your big girl panties on and do to save the friendship, And there's a lot of hard things you have to do in life, and that's one of them, And
that's why going to that conversation of having just the language for it. Like, I really care about this friendship, point blank. Put that out there first. Like, set that out and say, like, I want to fix this. I'm feeling some type of way. Am I tripping? Are you tripping? What's going on? Let's figure it out.
I mean, you're going to do that with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, so why not do it with a friendship, And
why do, and that's why I feel like friendships are more difficult, because you feel like in a spousal relationship or a significant other, they have to deal with my BS because that's my boo.
But like, my thing is like, do they really? Because the door's always there too. If there's not a ring on your finger, it's a little easy. I mean, even with a ring on your finger, you can still do that, but it's like, it's a little harder. But like, especially if it's like a new relationship, oh, you did that, I'm not dealing with this, bye. But again, people are more likely to sit there and work on a relationship than they are on a friendship. And it doesn't make any sense to me why that's so, because it's the same thing. Like,
it's the same thing.
You have
your relationships with others.
Yeah.
Your relationship with others, like work on all of them, not just one. Don't be so zoned in on one, I think it could be hard though, because like I had a relationship for a significant long time, and it's true, like we did only really focus on each other because we saw each other every day. We made it a point to like want to, be together as much as we can and whatever. But I feel like my question is like, why do friendships not get that same amount of attention?
Yeah, definitely.
From you, from yourself. Like, how come I look back and I'm like, I gave all of my attention towards, this one person. Why did I focus so solely on that,
Right.
And when it's true, like friendships need.
And I think a lot, like in high school especially, that's such a thing. Like, or like younger ages, like now it's like, oh, okay, yeah, like we'll spend time together, but who can we invite to come with us? Like, what friends can we bring with us, But in like high school or like first years of college, like, oh no, sorry guys, I don't want this to be a friend thing. It's just going to be us. And then you lose memories that you could have had with so many people, and then you have that memory with that person, and who knows what happened with that boyfriend or girlfriend, when you could have had that memory with all of your friends rather than just that one person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The more the merrier. But another thing I wanted to say too, and put this out there, is that friendship is a commitment though.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Which is like, why I never understand when people are like, oh, I don't want a girlfriend or a boyfriend because I don't want the commitment. How many other commitments do you have right now? How many friends do you have? How many,
I mean,
it's the same thing. It's a commitment.
I know, but the people that don't want a girlfriend and boyfriend right now is because they want to, mess around with other people in a different way.
Oh,
not in a friendship type of way, in a different way. So
but don't blame it on commitment, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, don't blame it on commitment. Be honest, you just want to freak around.
Yeah, because if you're like saying, oh, I don't want a commitment, then that friend that you meet at the club that's going to be your next best friend, you don't got time for a commitment, so you don't need a friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, but friendship is definitely a commitment. And if you want it, you have to show that you care about it, just like anything else, and make your friends know, like, no, like, I care about you guys, and you guys are, whether I show it or not. And that's another thing that I think I'm still trying to work on is I care so deeply. I love all of my friends. I don't always show it the way I probably should or the way most of them might need me to. And that's something that I'm working on.
And I think
Every friend of
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say every friend of mine is different. So every friend needs like a little needs different attention
reminder or a text. And I think it's also important, like everyone talks about, oh, it's gonna sound so cheesy because I don't know how true this is and I don't know if I believe it 100%, but love languages, you need to learn your friends' love languages as well, because
I am such a person for love languages. I have the book right here. I'm gonna read it soon. I am so about love languages. I agree 100%. I agree 100%.
Like, what if, like, say, I mean, for me, Ray just like calling me once a week, even before we started this podcast, I was like, oh, like, yay, she cares about me. But I have friends who are like, I need to send them a little text message, or I need to send them like even just like a candy bar, or like, like they have more like
Everybody has their needs, and if that person's important to you, you will figure it out, and you'll figure out a way to meet those needs. Point blank, period. Some people are probably listening to this thinking like, oh, well, that's too much for me to do. Like, I shouldn't have to do that for them to like. But it's like, don't let your pride get in the way. Like. So
and
what if
it just goes back to, if that was your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and you knew they liked small little words of affirmation, you would go out of your way to send them a text every single day for it. So why can't you do that? And especially now in a world that's so technological, you can send, if they're, what's the love language for like materialistic stuff, whatever, you could send them a little e-gift, a little $5 Starbucks gift card. You can send a text, you can call, you can FaceTime, you can send like an emoji of a virtual hug. Like, you can do anything. It like does not take any more time out of your day to do these little things, especially now.
Yes. And if you don't want to do it, that's fine too. But then that's how you know like where your priorities stand. Like, and
you can't expect maybe you much need friends from them back.
And maybe you need friends that understand that type of like, hey, like we don't need to be all up in each other's business, but like, but we're cool. Like, you just need to figure out what that looks like for you. You know.
And what friends are able to provide that for you willingly and are okay with that, because you can't ask. Like, if all of a sudden I turned into that type of person, because people change too. So like, say all of a sudden I turn into that, I can't expect Ray to be like, oh, okay, well, I'll just sit back now. Me knowing that that's not the type of friend she is. And you have to be willing to, realize that.
It takes two to tango. Like, you want this friendship? Show me, and I'll show you. Like, you got me, I got you.
Exactly.
So I wish I knew all of this at the time. I really did.
Sure.
Because I feel like my quality of life probably would have been a little bit better, but
it comes with time, it comes with age. Did you think we would be saying it comes with age already? But like, I mean, we're not even old. We're 22 years old, and
you learn nothing about nothing.
You learn so much in those 4 to 5 years post high school. Like,
yeah,
it's ridiculous. Like, you're not even really in the real world yet, because I mean, most of us are still living with our parents. Our bills are still getting paid for at that point. I mean, at least us, we were. But you still learn so much. And like, just this 8 months that I've been by myself, dude, I've learned about insurance. I've learned about how to talk to people on the phone so that they like get me what I need. And like, again, communication is such a soul foundation in life. And I know we're talking about friends, but just in general.
Preach. Yes, like, I agree. I mean, but like I said, easier said than done, right? Like, I still need practice with it till this day. Like, I'm still trying to figure out how to get my feelings across in certain situations without coming off a certain way or whatnot. But I think, you hit it right on the nose with communication. Like, it just is what it is.
And like, going back, drifting from the friendship thing and going to communication, hardest thing I've had to learn is to swallow my pride when someone that like I need someone from like the post office or the student loan people or people like that, the front desk maintenance, when they're giving me a bitchy attitude, it has been so freaking hard because you talk to me like that.
Person.
Ask Ray, you talk to me like that, my attitude's flipping like this and it's coming out, and it's been so hard to not do that because I know the second I switch to my bitch mode, they're gonna be like, fuck you, I'm not gonna get you what you need. Because I do the same thing at work. Like, if you're talking to me like that, oh, sorry, I don't have so and so anymore, so this anymore. I'm all out, even though I can go run to the back and grab it. But if you're gonna be an asshole to me, I'm gonna be an asshole to you. And so I have had to take a step back and like, okay, I have to be the bigger person. I have to be nice. I have to, just suck it up, and then I get what I need. But it's been so hard because I've always grown up like, oh, don't let people walk all over you, this and that. But I've had to be like, okay, they're not walking all over me. They've probably just had a bad day. I need to be the person that gives them a better day. I know it's not fair to me, but it is what it is. And again, communication.
It's a balance. And it's a balance too. Like, I mean, everybody's going to have their bad days. Everyone's going to have their good days. You're going to have your bad days. It is what it is, but don't go off on people if it's not, like, pick and choose your battles.
Oh, exactly.
Don't let your life be miserable like that. Like, don't be that person that's always causing a scene and making a big deal about this and that. Nope.
Swallow your pride, swallow your ego, and get in and get out. Do what you gotta do. Talk to who you gotta talk to, and just be a good person. It's not that hard. Then get in your car and vent to your relationship people, whether it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, friend, and be like, you know what this bitch told me at the post office today? And then you go off. Like, I did that to Ray. I did that to Ray the other day.
Yeah, I know. That'll be something your friends will be there for you with.
Exactly. But don't give a stranger the benefit of the doubt. Or no, that's not the right word. Don't give a stranger the satisfaction of ruining your day.
So what have your friendships taught you?
I've been really fortunate in my friendships where I haven't had to go through anything like yours. Obviously, there's little hiccups here and there. One story that I can think of was sophomore year of high school, and we had a friend. So the thing I was talking about earlier, this is that story. So we had a friend. I had a friend group, and this one friend was the friend that would always be like, oh, let's go out, let's do this. Because I'm not gonna lie, like, my group of friends, we were kind of like nerds. Like, we're not nerds, but like, we'd rather be at home watching a movie together. You say we were nerds? We would rather be at home watching a movie together, or like invite everyone to our place rather than going to like a party, drinking, smoking. Because we had pretty strict parents. All of us in that friend group had really strict parents. And so this one friend didn't. She kind of was able to do whatever she wanted as long as her mom knew where she was. And so she was sleeping over in my house one time. It was just me and her for whatever reason. And she talked my mom into letting us go to a party. So
like this friend.
You do. And so we went to this party. It was like a kickback, not a party. And this is gonna be so bad. Mom, if you're listening, I'm so sorry. So our one friend had a crush on this specific boy. She had only told the friend that took me to the kickback, so none of us knew yet.
There's too many friends now. There's too many friends. So you go to the party with this friend.
Okay, I go to the party with friend A.
Friend A.
Okay.
Good. Let's name her A.
Friend B from our group wasn't at the party, but she had told friend A that she has this crush on this specific boy.
Always about a boy.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I had no knowledge of this. None of us had knowledge of this crush except friend A, because friend B hadn't told us yet. It was a developing crush, right?
I can't wait to get names after this. Okay.
This specific boy started like flirting with me at this kickback, and he wasn't a bad looking with me.
Ooh, okay.
Granted, I had no knowledge that friend B liked him, right? So I was like, okay, cool, whatever, Friend A encouraged it, knowing friend B had a crush.
Oh, she didn't tell you.
Yeah, and saw it happening and was like, yeah, go for it, go for it. Like, legitimately encouraging it to the point where me and this boy kissed at this party. Okay?
Okay.
And then we get back to my house and she's like, oh, yeah, I have his number. You want his number? Like, here, you should text him. That whole 9 yards. I get to school on Monday. Friend B is pissed at me. Like, pissed at me. And I was like, what's wrong? Like, because we've always had open communication. So I straight up asked her, I was like, dude, what's wrong? Like, why are you mad at me? Like, you haven't talked to me since Saturday. Like, what's going on? Like, you're not responding to my text in the group chat. Like, you're not talking to me. You don't want to eat lunch with me. Like, you didn't talk to me at practice. Like, what is happening? And so she was like, well, you kissed so-and-so at this party and friend A told me. And then I was like, hold up. I was like, why are you mad at me because of that? Like, you should be like, oh yeah, like, cool, like, you know? And then she was like, no, because I like him, da 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 da. And I was like, okay, first of all, you didn't tell me. And she's like, okay, yeah, you're right. You're like, she was like, she understood, like, you know, like, okay, like, you know, you didn't know. And she like calmed down at that point, like after realizing like I didn't know. And this is why me and that friend are still really close. But she was like, yeah, you're right. And I was like, who even told you? Like, you know, because I was like getting ready to tell them like at lunch, like, oh my God, guess what I did this weekend, you know? And then she was like, friend A. And I was like, did friend A know that you liked him? And then she was like, yeah, she's the only person that knew. And I was like, oh, that's really funny because she encouraged it. She gave me his number. And like I had texts and everything to show her. Yeah. And then when we confronted friend A about it, she tried to lie to our faces and say like, oh, no, I didn't know that was happening. So that's when us as a group, like collective, like she was turning us like, and there was more situations with like other friends that I don't know like all the details about because it didn't happen like with me, but like she constantly was like trying to turn friends against friends because friend A so desperately wanted to be friend B's like number one, and it just wasn't getting there because me and friend B have been friends since kindergarten. So Ray's like trying to figure out what who these people are. But yeah, so that's like the only friendship that like, you know, I've had that kind of issue with other than just, you know, things drifting apart. But that whole situation, like I started getting a lot more like I don't want to say what's the word, like weary of who my friends were, like who I could trust and who I would tell things to, because before that I was a total open book. Like I would tell you anything, like I don't care. But yeah, since then, like I got very like iffy about who I trusted. I was very more like I told everyone everything as soon as it happened, like in my clique, because I didn't know who was gonna go and spill beans before I got to them. You know, just like stuff like that. And again, communicating, like I communicated with my friends everything. But I think that was like the big like life lesson, that, and then also knowing like who's there for you, because like my first real breakup was right after high school, and it was hard for me because like I never had a serious boyfriend before that, and it was like a big old deal. And I was in Vegas, so I was in a different state, and every single one of those 5 girls called me. One of them tried to get on a plane to come see me. One of her cousin had a competition in Vegas, and she made her family go out a day early so she could come spend the day in the dorm with me. Like, you know, little things like that, and seeing like the sacrifices people will make if they really want to be there for you, versus friends I had who would, you know, not talk to me for days at a time because I didn't bring them a cup of noodles to school, or like, you know, stuff like that. Yeah. So I think that's what I've learned from my friendships.
I agree. I think valuing yourself as a friend is so important. Like, I know I'm a good friend. I know I care wholeheartedly about everybody that I allow in my life.
Right.
So if you feel like that person's not giving you that back, that respect and that love that you give them, don't do it.
Yeah.
But I know it's hard. I know there's like some friendships out there that are like very, I don't want to say toxic, but just where one individual really is draining all of the other person's everything, attention, and they need all of this stuff from this other person, advice, and always just give me all of whatever you have, and not being able to give back. And that's not right either. And if you're in that situation, no.
Why not be the better friend and try and give more to your friends? Like, they're doing all this for you. Why can't you sacrifice a little for them?
But I'm talking about the person that is.
Oh, yeah. There's a time and a point. There's a time and point where you're doing too much for someone if you're not getting that back. And I'm not saying you should be doing stuff out of like with an obligation or like an expectation for them to give it back. But you have to think about yourself too, because, it's draining for yourself, and that's going to lead to stress. That's going to lead to depression. That's going to lead just so many different stuff. So you always have to kind of, everyone says like, oh, think of others before yourself, but sometimes you have to stop thinking about others and think about yourself first. Don't be selfish. There's a difference between being selfish and thinking about yourself, and you have to mature to a point to figure that out and just think about it sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, we're still learning that too. Oh, but like, it's true. Like knowing, like, hey, I don't have to take this, and you can talk to them about it too. You can, like we were saying earlier, communicate what you're feeling and let them know, hey, like I'm not being respected the way I need to be, or whatever. But also be free to have that conversation and then walk away. Like, be free to say, like, I've been feeling this way, and just walk away, and maybe that's what my ex-best friend did to me, was like, hey, I don't want to be your friend anymore. And it took me a lot to realize that I'm not everyone's cup of tea. But
also going into those conversations, you can't have expectations. Like, you can't go and say like, hey, I need this from you, and expect them to just give that to you. You have to be ready for them to be like, hey, I can't give that to you, I'm sorry, like, or not even give you a response at all. So guys.
Did you get everything you wanted out?
I think so.
On friendship breakups? I think so too.
Or just learning from friendships in general, I think. Because that was my aspect of this perspective.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's so cool that we have this podcast, so that way we can, because we want to like bring other people on, other best friends, and learn from them. And
who knows, maybe friend A will come on and Ray's friend will come on. Because we could still contact both those people. So, who knows?
We can, and we're not, clickbait, huh? Like, ooh, drama. No, just kidding. No, but I think we want to learn from other people, too, on how to be better friends in general. Better people, obviously, like, duh, but better friends,
But so I think that's it for today. Go ahead and, let us know what you guys think. Post in the comments, DM us. All of our links will be down below. But give us your take or any questions, any ideas for upcoming podcasts. If you have a dynamic duo best friend in mind that you want to see on here, tag them too. But anything else, Ray?
We hope you enjoyed.
And we'll see you guys next week.